Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hayle Olson and I try to upload videos every Monday and occasionally on Wednesdays. For today's video, we're going to be setting up my January monthly budget in my budget planner. So if you saw one of my last videos, you saw me set up a quick kind of overview of this planner. We went into how I set up the 2019 overview pages, a little bit of how I'll do my monthly pages, and then you saw me do my notes pages back here in the back. So if you want to see how and why I did those pages, make sure to go check that video out. Also, if you missed on Instagram, I uploaded my inspiration and motivational page over on there. I'll pop my handle up here on the screen for you guys if you want to go check that out if you missed it. But other than that, let's jump into setting up my January 2019 monthly budget. So for this page over here, I haven't really decided what I want to put on it yet. I might put some goals here or any kind of notes or anything that pop up throughout the month, but I'm not entirely sure. For the monthly layout, I'm going to be using these color block event stickers that Erin Condren sells, and I'm going to be using these to keep track of any bills or expenses that we have throughout the month. So right now I'm going to go through and put in all of our bills and when we pay them. So for the month of January and pretty much every month of the year, these are the only bills that we really have. We have both of our cell phones and we're actually both on our family plan still with our individual families, so we just pay our parents for that. And then we've got our car insurance due on the 3rd. Thankfully, even though we're not married, we somehow still ended up on the same plan, which is amazing. And then our rent and utilities, we usually pay those all on the same exact day, so those just go over there. And our rent and utilities isn't due until the 1st of the month, but we like to pay it about 2 weeks in advance so that it gets paid and processed on time. So those are pretty much the only bills that we have for January. I also wanted to keep track of the days that Sean and I get paid. So I'm just using the colorful circle sticker dots to mark down the days that Sean gets paid, and then let's see, the days that I get paid as well. That way I can just quickly look at this page and see when we're going to be getting paid and when our bills are due. So that's just going to be a quick overview. I think that's going to be it for this page, and now we're going to move on to a more exciting page, which is where I'm going to be writing down our expenses and then our sinking funds that we keep track of. And that's where these sticker pages are going to come in. In my last video where I did my planner overview, I showed you guys all of the sticker pages that I picked out for each month of 2019, and these were the ones I had picked out for January. One, because it matched with the colorway, and then also because I'm going to be traveling to Phoenix, so I thought the cacti print worked really well with that. So I'm going to be putting stickers in and then writing the layout. I'm going to do a music overlay for you guys and kind of speed through it so you don't have to sit through the whole thing.
You still want me, and we will never be apart. I guess I couldn't see just what you meant to me. Get off the phone and sober up, because it's you and me now. You and me now.
Alright you guys, so now that I have my January budget laid out, I kind of want to walk you guys through it. So how I lay out my budget is I have my expenses on this side and my sinking funds on this side. If you don't know what sinking funds are, let me know down in the comments and I can do a video for you guys kind of explaining it all. But basically what it is you set aside money for a specific thing or a certain category, and you set aside a little bit each month so that by the time the event or whatever rolls around, you can pay for it in full and you already have the cash sitting there waiting for it, ready to go. So for example, if you have a bill due, say in December, for $120, you could save $10 each month throughout the year so that by the time your bill is due in December, you'll have $120 sitting there waiting for you, ready to go. That's kind of how a sinking fund works. You can do a bunch of different things. For example, we have a category for gifts. We have birthdays and holidays and just events that happen throughout the year, whether they're weddings or baby showers, where we want to give gifts. So each month we set aside a certain amount for gifts so that by the time any event rolls around, we have money sitting there ready to go. That way we're not really having to mess and change around what our expenses are. We've already kind of planned for it. So for expenses, we have our rent and utilities, we have gas and any car washes. All of our food is lumped together. We've got clothing, Sean's spending money, my spending money, our student loans, and then a total for our sinking funds. Now this is very pared down compared to what it used to be. So when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to kind of write out my 2019 planner, I kind of like drafted it up in a different notebook and was trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to lay it out. So I had taken our November budget and just wrote down all of our different categories. As you can see, we used to have a ton of categories, and as I mentioned, we wanted to move away from our very detailed Excel document and move over into the paper planner and kind of slim it down and make it really simple. So as you can see, we had all of these expense categories and we kind of categorized them and brought them all down into these. So we really minimized, like where we previously would have had rent and utilities, electric, cable and internet, cell phones, and then any household like items, like if we needed to buy like a ladder or a light bulb or something, that would have gone into household. But all of these little categories I just put into rent and utilities and everything will just get covered there. It just makes more sense to me and it's just easier to kind of navigate. Same with all the other categories, like before we had groceries, restaurants, lunch money for Sean, and lunch money for me. Now we just have one category called food. So we kind of pared it down so we matched the different categories and just made it as simple as possible. So I just wanted to show you guys kind of how it was and what I pared it down to. The next column is budgeted, so this is where I'll put how much we want to spend for our certain categories, and then the next column says previous month. So whatever we ended up with the previous month, I'll put that number here. I like to bring over our categories, whether we go negative or have a surplus amount of money. I like to list that here so that we can adjust our budget if needed, and then I'll list what we ended with at the end of the month. Now that being said, we also have sinking funds on top of these expenses. So the main one for this year is our sinking fund for our wedding. Like I mentioned earlier, we have gifts, then we have car maintenance, our car insurance, we have an Amazon Prime that is annual, but we save money monthly so that we can pay for it when it comes. We do a lot of travel, so we put aside money each month for travel. Medical, Sean and I don't really have a lot of medical expenses, but in case there was an emergency or anything like that, we like to have a little bit saved up. And plus, if someone needs to get extra contacts or a new pair of glasses, or maybe has a cavity that needs to get fixed at the dentist, we can easily pay for it with the money we've set aside in the medical category. And then we have our renter's insurance that we pay annually, but again, we save for it monthly. We've got a plus column and a minus column depending on what kind of money we add to the sinking fund, and then if we take anything out, we'll list it here. And then I like to list how we ended the month and what the total is for each specific sinking fund. Now, Sean and I like to divvy out our budget in a weekly layout just because we get paid on every other week and we don't want to overspend on money that we don't have. Let's say, for example, we've got, I don't know, like $400 for gas and car washes. That's a little ridiculous, but just for the example. Let's say we have $400 for gas for the entire month. we might see that we have that $400 at the beginning of the month, but in reality we don't, because our income for the entire month is spread out on a weekly basis. We don't get our entire income at the beginning of the month. And the way Sean and I have pared down our budget, we don't have a lot of wiggle room as far as if we overspend. So we like to divvy it out by the week so we know how much money we have each week. So if I had $400 for gas for the entire month, I would divvy out $100 each week from our paychecks. That's kind of how we do our budget, just to kind of explain it a little bit more. Similar to the previous pages, we have a column each week for what we budgeted for and then what is remaining. So again, if we go over or go under, we can carry it over to the following week, just so we can keep track of progress throughout the month. I do have a lot of extra space at the bottom of these pages just because I have pared down our budget so much. I plan on using these for notes for the specific things. So if there's any kind of changes I want to make as far as these categories, since I did pare down so much, I can make notes here. Similar to the sinking funds, if there's anything crazy coming up or anything specific that month, I can list that here. And then as far as the weeks go, if I notice a pattern or anything that kind of sticks out that we need to change, again, I can make notes down here at the bottom of the page. So that is how I have laid out our monthly budget for January. I'm really excited to see how it goes. This will be our first time using a paper planner for our budget, so I hope all goes to plan and all goes well. I'm curious to see how we're going to end up tracking all of our expenses. So previously we used an Excel doc where we just tracked every single purchase that we made or expense that we had, and I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do that now. We have a few different options. I could make a list and track all of the expenses over here, or I also grabbed the Budget Book Petite Planner, and in there they've got a pretty good list for your spending tracking, so you can keep track of that. We've got quite a few pages in here. But the only downside is in our Excel sheet we had it so that it would automatically take the amount out of the correct category, so you could see how much you had in that category left. On this, it doesn't really do that, and you have to list a category, and then at the end of the month you total it up. So we'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not too worried about it because, in all honesty, Sean and I really do only look at our budget once a month, which probably isn't the best, but we will see if this kind of keeps us on track a little bit more and makes us pay attention. Alright you guys, so that is going to be everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed getting to see how I organized our January 2019 budget. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know down below in the comments. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to see my monthly budgeting videos in the future, I'm going to be continuing this with February and beyond. Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out. And other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!